All right, everybody, settle down, settle down. Thanks, everyone, for coming to this evening's Bad Ideas at Disney. So far, we've been doing pretty good. We got the film in Mulan in China near the 1 million detained Muslims under our belt. That one went over pretty good. Pissed a lot of people off. Let's see. We keep teasing the gays that we're with them, and then we don't really follow through on that. We just keep them on a short leash, and they seem to be all right with it. That's their thing. That's their thing. Boba Fett's ship, renamed from Slave-1 to creatively Boba Fett's ship. That seems to have really got the Star Wars fans finally angry about something other than the sequel trilogy. It's working really good, but we're running out of ideas here, people. So what have you got? New guy, what's up? People love Little Mermaid. What if we... Yeah, we already did that. The cast is black now, and didn't really matter to people. So that's why we refused to put Terry Crews as King Triton. That really pissed him off good and well. Man, I love that Terry Crews. That would have been so great if the people just didn't want him so badly. Anyway, next, let's see here. Redneck Midwesterner that we hired as a joke. What have you got?
Well, you see, what if we redid Song of the South? I really like that one. You know, the guy was whistling to the birds and stuff.
Yeah, that one's uncomfortable, unfortunately. It's a little too far, but you know what? I like where your head's at. We're gonna keep you around. You're doing all right. You, next. Guy clad in plaid with $500 of hair care products in his beard. I don't know, what if we did Pinocchio, but instead of a wooden boy, which is also bad for the environment, he's made out of plastic and gets stuck in Turtle's nose. Ziz. Like mini turtles, like his fingers just go right into turtles' faces. And we turn the entire thing into why plastic children are bad for the environment and cave-dwelling Paiute trout and stuff. You know what? That's just crazy enough to work. Brilliant! Jenkins, make it happen. All right, dismiss people, and remember, if it's not broke, we need to break it.
This is Crashed While Loading, the fusion of entertainment and information.
Hello there.
Weekly updates and opinions on video games.
You were almost a Jill sandwich.
You're right.
Movies.
I'm about to do to you what Limp Bizkit did to music in the late 90s.
TV shows.
This is the way.
This is the way.
And so much more.
JJ, what do you want to do tonight?
Off. We need to go on a quick adventure. Well, hello, the internet. Several days past my expiration date for doing shows. But, I got busy, dude. 4th of July kicked my ass this year. We went and did beer pong for the first time in my forever life at all. Yeah, I've never played beer pong. I know this is probably surprising, giving me the Star Wars, Zelda, and watercolor print of the Phoenix behind me, that I was not a party-going jock-type person in school. I know, shockingly. I was the guy that, wore the black trench coat and went through magazines of IGN, or let's see, EGM, and Computer Gaming Monthly kind of stuff by myself off in a corner eating my lunch at high school. And I was actually happy that way, believe it or not. I'm pretty happy just doing my own thing. Fortunately, I got sucked into doing that. It was a lot of fun. I got Sib drunk. That was a lot of fun because she does not drink, and she was plastered. She is hysterically funny when she is really, really drunk. That was adorable. And then we had the next day. I was on the 3rd. On the 4th, we went out to my sister. We had a bunch of family come in from good old Texas, and relatives from my uncle's kids and cousins and stuff like that I hadn't seen in ages. And we blew up probably. I only spent $130 on fireworks. And blew through those really quick. And everyone else probably had about $2,000 worth.
And there was much rejoicing.
Yay! Thank you, Scribbles, for subscribing with Prime to the channel. I forget that I can do that. I should probably use mine to sub to other people's channels, but I don't remember to. But other than that, I fucked up my entire schedule. Yesterday was just, Sib and I were just lazy the entire day. We kind of got busy too. Things just didn't line up. Even today, I was almost on the fence of just holding the whole thing off. But you know what? I have a lot of stuff to go over. Starting with some things we watched. We watched some things, and they were good. And here's the thing about them.
This is Crash While Loading's half-ass reviews. Maybe we finished it. Maybe we didn't. But either way, here's what we thought of it.
All right, so first up, we actually rented Nobody with Bob Odenkirk, who you might know as Saul, Better Call Saul from, Better Call Saul and then Breaking Bad, as an action guy. It's very, it was good. We loved it. We totally dug it. It was very John Wick in a lot of ways, but just it had a lot more humor than the John Wick movies did. Like, intentionally. It wasn't like, haha, that wasn't supposed to be funny, but he just, shoved that guy's elbow into his forehead, and that was his... No, it was just... There's little things. I'm not going to go into spoilers, because honestly, the trailer, it spoils most of it itself. I mean, he's clearly some guy that's living his day-to-day life and used to be some sort of government badass, and things happen. They break into his home, and then he goes and beats the living shit out of them because of reasons, and... that's how that whole movie goes from start to finish. But the choreography and the action in it are just great. They're so smooth. You could tell they put a lot of time into it, like they do with the John Wick stuff. That just Odenkirk, for a guy that didn't realize he was going to be an action star, I really, really hope they make more of these, because it definitely leaves itself open to more. And it needs... we need more of this. And if it's like... It's on Redbox for whatever Redbox charges. It's $5.99 rental on Amazon. Totally worth the $6 for us to sit down and watch that. It was just fun from start to finish. The other one was kind of a surprise. It came out of nowhere for me. It's called Fear Street 1994. It's going to be a Netflix trilogy of movies. And clearly they are all going to be set from an inspiration, but they've got the town that they're in, Shady Vale, and Shady Side or something like that. There's the typical poor side, rich side rivalry thing that goes on, but there's a witch involved that they go over. This is all like the opening credits go over all this. I'm not going to spoil anything on this either. But this one is clearly based on Scream, and then there's a sequel that's going to be Fear Street. I think it was 1978, which they showed a preview of, so they're already filming these. And Sib actually caught on. She looked up and found out Scream came out in 1996, and the next one looks like it's based off of Friday the 13th. It's got a very Jason-like kind of a guy and vibe to it after the preview. And that is for 1978, but the first Friday the 13th came out in 1980. So it seems like they're going back in time, and they're just doing 2 years before the actual movies they're based on came out. But what basically happened? I mean, it's a classic. It feels like a 1990s horror movie. It feels like it could have come out at the exact same time Scream did. It's got a little more. It's less Scream. Plot twist was the two supernatural or two dudes instead of the one serial killer. This has more of a supernatural vibe to it, and there's not really a huge mystery to it. I mean, they act like is the witch doing it, but like the opening credits went back in time of the town to a burning witch, and she cursed the town. So it's really not like it was kind of the problem I had with The Witch, the very serious old English movie where they're like, is it a witch or is she crazy? I do not know. Which one is she supposed to be? Except for the fact that in the first 5 minutes of that same movie, they literally showed you the witch, which totally took away any relevance to is the little girl or is the teenage girl actually crazy and just imagining all this stuff in her head, or is there a real witch in the forest? It would have been great. It would have been really psychologically I don't know, is there a witch or is she just crazy? Except they showed the goddamn witch in the first 5 minutes, and it ruined that part of it. I don't know why they did that. It was really stupid. This, however, isn't that complicated. It's, people get crazy, they start killing each other, there's other things that come up. It was very entertaining. You just sit down with a bowl of popcorn, turn off your brain. Like, it is in that vein of horror movies. And it has some pretty light moments. It's got some plot twists for the time with the couples that are in it. It does the typical, like, nerdy guy out of his league. There's a black teenage kid. He looks really young for some reason, even though he's the same age as all the other teenagers. The only thing I don't know is accurate is that he's on AOL Messengers in 1994, and I don't recall them looking like that in 94. That seems almost too early for that. I seem to recall the Messenger really took off more a little later towards the end of the 90s, but especially in the design they had it. Maybe I'm wrong and I'm just remembering it badly, but I mean, I know when I started at the post office in 2004, we would get literally like 100 of those AOL discs. Excuse me, I burped. In the little CD cases to deliver to customers. They were still passing them off when I got hired in 2004, 2005. So, being in 1994, that one seemed off. And is it small gripe? Yeah, it's a small gripe. It's a nerd gripe. It's something I probably noticed, and other people that would listen to this would be like, I don't know if I remember that. That didn't seem right. But I liked it. I'm really actually excited to see the whole trilogy. I'm curious what I think the last movie, because there's a character in here that you find pretty about halfway through that's from like the 50s, and I wonder if that's going to be like the Exorcist kind of a thing or something like that, or based off of, what was gave him 40 whacks, the chick that went crazy and chopped off, Lizzie Borden kind of a thing, although she wasn't really Lizzie Borden-esque, but still, I'm looking forward to it. The other thing, I beta tested briefly, I streamed it over on YouTube, was an MMO called Broken Ranks, which looks amazing visually. Even if it is in the isometric Diablo style, and then the combat goes to like side turn-based Final Fantasy, like early Final Fantasy 5 and 6 kind of stuff, but it's got some strange mechanics. Renfail was actually watching me play it, and he agreed the HUD is too goddamn small. I mean, so you have, what are they? They call them like tasks, basically. You set up how you want your attacks to go. Like you pre-do that so that you can shift stuff on the fly. Like you do punch, 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 but you only have 12 points and 10 seconds to apply those, which is why you have to have them in advance. And then aside from the more points you put into it, the better chance you have a percentage of actually hitting the enemy. Then there's also some of those points have to go into blocking. You have blocking melee, blocking projectiles, and blocking mental, like the war cry, which will lower your percent chance to hit. Those icons underneath there for the blocking were so infinitesimally small that clicking on them, like with a mouse, was difficult. It was very easy to miss them entirely. In fact, it wasn't until halfway through the stream I realized that there were actually little icons in them. One of them was an arrow, and then one was a sword, and the other was like an explosion, which I don't know why that represents the brain, but, it's MMOs, you got to use something, I guess, and the little brain. It was so small, honestly, a little brain. Wouldn't have made much sense. But the combat, 10 seconds seemed way too short, especially on the fly. And then there were a few things where you had to click it. Like it has the timer counts down. I thought I skipped a couple turns because I thought, well, once the timer gets to 0, it will automatically do what I've just selected. Wrong. That's not exactly how that worked. That was the perfect opportunity. Oh, we found an issue. Oh, of course. I can't get onto my voice mod. Can't do my cool stuff. But it was It was a lot of fun. I could see it definitely getting its own little niche and finding an audience. It's very, very different when it comes to MMOs. It played more like the RuneScape, like click around on the map, but it really looks great. I really dug the visual style and the art that they were using for this. The writing was actually really good too, surprisingly. I kind of blazed through it because I was trying to get to the gameplay stuff. Writing's not going to change, but the writing I did read, there was one where you're getting on the ship and you eat a bowl, and it turns out there's maggots in it, which, of course, I didn't know that at the time because it didn't describe it to me. So then you go and investigate, and the cook's put his dead wife's chopped off head in there because he needed some place to preserve it because somebody killed it, and he was trying to take her head to wherever they would bury it, and it was very gruesome, and then you have to try to help him hide the head, or like rat on him. It gives you a lot of choices for the story, which was really cool. The beta's already over. It was one weekend. Unfortunately, they did extend it, but the first day they had the usual beta test issues that all MMOs really have, and that's fine. The real shit brick of it was the DDoS attack that they also got on top of it being brand new in their first day trying to get this. Somebody DDoS's, and I went and found them on Twitter. They don't have a lot of followers. They don't get a lot of comments. It's a very small team. I forget what it's called now. Let me see if I can find it. It was like White something Games. Man, I could always. I'll look it up later. But no, they have a very, very small following, which, you know, for the amount of work they did and the art style, it's very cool. So it's something to keep an eye on. I've found out today, too, thanks to Scribbles, too, by the way, that Crowfall came out today. Totally did not know that was coming. I remember I kickstarted that thing in 2016, so 5-year investment of $34. If you ever go on Kickstarter something, you giving your money away, you probably won't get it back. Every now and then, you do. Yep, and there's Crowfall right there. He just linked it in there. But it's I got to play with the character creator. It's pretty limited, I will say. Sucker! Haha! I just happened to catch it back when it was $34, and that's all I had to spend on it. I've not actually gotten to play it because I will be honest, I was playing Mass Effect today, 3. I'm still trying to get through that. And then I will try to branch out, although I did make room for Broken Ranks. And he says he got the Heart of Gold package and got the skins. I guess there's different. I would assume it looked like there is a ton of unlocks that they're very heavy on their cash shop, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I just haven't dug deep into it. Also, I got it for I got it for $35 because I believed in them before anybody else did. I just threw the money at it and let's just hope for the best. It's really all it was. It's just dumb luck. I've done a few others, and what was that? The one from the Castlevania, Bloodstained. That one I did, and that one actually came out. Then there's a couple others I saw I had on there that all got canceled, and that's that. But I look forward. Hopefully, I'll have time to play that between now and the next episode. You know, that's going to be only in like 5 days because it's Tuesday when I'm recording this one, like an idiot. And I can tell you more about Crowfall. It looked clean before it went offline for a kind of a hotfix patch. It looked smooth, like just the character creator wasn't janky. There's certain things you can tell in an MMO if it's not going to be good from the get-go, or if it's going to have a lot of jank. And this one didn't have any of that jank. The intro cinematic, I mean, it was animated pictures, basically. Not, like still pictures that were slightly animated, not like Naruto. But that was cool. So, here's hoping. And as for Broken Ranks, that's another one. Just keep an eye on it. Let's see. Moving on to something that's just, I'm not surprised by it, but for some reason other people are. That Todd Howard came out and basically said, "Oh yeah, Elder Scrolls 6, that thing. Yeah, that's in early design stages at this point. Don't expect that anytime soon." Which, yeah, duh. I mean, I don't know why people thought this was going to be coming out anytime soon. With Starfield coming out November 11th of next year, they're working on that right now. I mean, sure, there's probably a team working, slowly starting to build up to Elder Scrolls 6, but he's already flat out and come out and said that with the Microsoft merger, that's what they were waiting on to really start working on Elder Scrolls, which is why Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be Xbox Microsoft exclusive. That's just going to have to be the way it is. I mean, Starfield already is, and that one was in production before this buyout. So the fact that all of Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be based on the back of Microsoft and for Xbox, yeah, it's not, I hate to say this, but PlayStation folks, it's not going to come to your console. There's just no way. You don't spend $7.5 billion to when your competitor has been beating you over the head about exclusivity and things like that and be like, you know what? I spent a lot of money on this, but I'm feeling very generous and I'm going to share. If they did do that, it's going to be at like a 50%, like 50% of sales on the PlayStation go directly to Microsoft. And I don't know that Sony would even like that. So there's no surprise there. It is what it is. Expect it probably 2025, 2026, to be honest with you. I mean, those games are massive, and with all the new tech, it's going to be huge. Another one that's not a surprise, but for some reason people think it is, GTA 6 is 2025 at a minimum, according to recent reports from the team over at Rockstar, which is, again, not surprising. GTA has been the highest grossing game year after year, and it came out like almost 10 years ago now. Why would you do another one when it's already making it's their Fortnite, you know? They're just making money hand over fist. So there's really not much else to say about that other than I understand it. I wish there was another one coming sooner, of course, but why would they? I mean, really? Yeah. So, in other news, HBO canceled Lovecraft Country after one season. This is a show we watched, Sib and I. Talked about it here. It was good, and I would have watched a second season, but at the same time, this does not surprise me because it was a very inconsistent show. Like, extremely inconsistent. Some episodes were absolutely amazing and really good, and then it wasn't even the fact that they went off the deep end and just went weird. It was just that they weren't good. They drug on and just, it was like one episode felt like 2 or 3 on a couple of them. About half of them felt like that, which is not good when you only have like 8 episodes. So, it's a shame. I love some of the comment section on IGN things. It's like, well, clearly making the whole cast black didn't pay off the way they thought. Trust me, the casting was not the biggest problem. And I personally, I'm never for just, just don't recast things just for the sake of clicking off check marks, boxes and making things politically correct. However, given that Lovecraft, the writer, was a huge racist and into all that stuff of the time, I kind of liked the tongue-in-cheek poke at him, that they were going to use his material that's out there in the open domain, but cast it as an all-black cast. I thought it was cool. I mean, there was a short story, I forget which one, where a guy is talking and has his cat. His cat is named N-Word Man. I can't even say it because I'd probably get kicked off of Twitch and everything else, but that's the name of his cat. He named the cat in that story N-Word Man. Man. Well, it's as close as I can get to it. In talking about basically talking about the how black people aren't on the same intellectual levels and this and that and the other thing because of their craniums and their bumps on their head. I forget what the bump headology of was called at the time of the 1800s, but it had a name. A lot of people thought like you could read the cranial ridges and bumps of the skull and realize somebody's intellect and intelligence. And it turns out, no, that's actually not a science. It's about as real as tarot cards and astrology, not astronomy, which sadly my astronomy teacher back in high school actually had to make the differentiation, and 1 or 2 kids actually left the class because it wasn't what they thought it was. And people say the public education system has failed us. I say they failed themselves for going to public school. Why weren't you born rich and just go to a rich private school like the other rich private school goers? I didn't. I liked public school because I got to do absolutely nothing and yet somehow still make like a, 3.8 grade point average and never really do anything. Also, one thing, I meant to get this last week and it slipped my mind. It's also going to be a while, but I'm curious what everyone thinks about the Microsoft 11 thing rollout. I seem to be saying this a lot on this episode today, that I'm not surprised, but I'm surprised that people were surprised that when Microsoft, they did come out initially and say like Windows 10 is the last Windows you'll ever need. But to be fair, Bill Gates said a 512 megabyte hard drive was all the hard drive space you would ever need for the rest of your life. Megabytes, not gigabytes, by the way. Never mind that we have terabyte hard drives now, 2, 3, and 4 terabyte hard drives. And to infinity and beyond. He actually did say 512 would be more than enough. And funny enough, my very first computer had a 512 megabyte hard drive. Yeah, and it was, at the time, really all I ever needed, because mostly I just played Star Wars Jedi Academy and EverQuest. Which now has me wondering, I wonder how big the original EverQuest was, like file-sized. That makes me curious. But anyway, Windows 11. So yeah, it's announced, it's launched, it was leaked a while back. There was also Windows 10 X or something like that. They're really big on X's over at Microsoft. I don't know why. I guess it's cool. I mean, it's cool that if you have Windows 10, you're going to get a free upgrade. I'm not really keen on the design. I really hope they don't make us have everything in the middle. For some reason, I just like having stuff on the left-hand side of my screen. I don't want my shit in the middle like a Mac. Is there a reason for that? No, it's just what I'm used to, and I don't like change because I'm old and crotchety, and things like that scare me and make me mad. Very mad. Okay, I'm all right. Anyway, so the Windows 11, according to Windows 11 is due out later in 2021 and will be delivered over several months. The rollout of the upgrade to Windows 10 devices already in use today will begin in 2022 through the first half of that year. And we got flies. That's gross. So it's cool we're getting a rollout, and I guess people that tried, there was a leaked version out online, and they're like, yeah, that's really, really an old build. I wouldn't use that. That's not anything like what we're actually going to give people. So I'm hoping it does good stuff, especially for video games. I know it was one of the first times in a Windows release that they actually had people from the gaming division of Xbox and things like that over in Microsoft games on the panel and at the thing that was announcing this. That's new. They usually are just, pushed off to the side. Nobody cares. But clearly Windows and Xbox are going all in on this cross, trying to create an environment where you can just play any of their games. Even if your computer can't handle it with the xCloud, they're trying to make it so you could stream the game to your computer, even if you have a potato for a computer and you're still like, my GeForce 520 is really good, and I think I can run Microsoft Flight Simulator. Which is another really cool thing, by the way, that they announced that really went under the radar in E3. That if you have an Xbox One and you can't get hold of an X or anything like that, the xCloud stuff, you can stream the newer games as if you were playing on an Xbox Series X to your Xbox One through their cloud. And yeah, it will have probably that slight input delay, but for things like, you could play Microsoft Flight Simulator streaming on your Xbox One, which is kind of a really big deal, because they promised that they weren't going to just shuffle off the last generation, but you can't run, Gears of War 6 is not gonna. It's gonna be impossible because it's gonna have Unreal Engine 5. It won't run on an Xbox One, but it could run streaming through it. How well that will do, of course, that's going to be a couple years off still. I don't know, but I thought that was really cool, and like a lot of people didn't really seem like they caught up on that, which was weird. But I thought it was cool. So yeah, Windows 11. I guess we have to wait till sometime next year. If you're not going to just buy it outright or get it with a new computer, in which case you'll get it. But if you want to get the upgrade, I assume they're doing that because there's so many computers out there, and it probably just crashed the entire internet. Everyone trying to download Windows 11 all at the same time. Or knowing Windows that it would just do it for you. Probably right in the middle of you doing an important project for school or work or art things. Also, I'm kind of good with waiting a little bit because they're always a little buggy at the start, like most things. All right, moving on. I just thought this was stupid, so I'm going to cover it because it's dumb. Of course, they thought it was a cool-looking mouse in the article here at PC Gamer, but those people are stupid. There's a thing called, I think the company is called Zephyr Pro. They came out with a mouse that has a fan in it so your palms don't get sweaty. First off, fatty, calm down. You shouldn't be having sweaty palms. If doing this, like if this motion here is causing you to break out into a cold sweat, I'm just going to say, as a fat man in training, you definitely need to lay off the hamburgers just a little bit. Like, maybe cut it down from 5 or 6 down to 2 or 3. Just putting that out there. Maybe instead of getting the extra large, you just get a large. I don't know. But if you really need a fan in your mouse, and it's the thing is, to get that fan blowiness, it's a tiny little fan. Like it's not even. It fits in a mouse. It's smaller than most PC fans. It's got like gaps in it, like it's almost honeycombed. We'll say the mouse texture itself. So I could only imagine that your palm would come out looking like, I don't know, those weird flowers that have the giant seeds in them that you see. It would look like you have some sort of weird lattice disease.
Back off, man. I'm a scientist.
Yeah, exactly. It would look weird. I'll put it right. If you're in the Discord, remember twitch.tv/CrashedWhile-Loading. If you click on the About section, you can, join the Discord server and see that dumbass looking mouse. I don't know. I thought it looked stupid. Maybe other people will think it looks cool. These guys thought it looked cool, but these guys, they have to. I don't know. They think things like that are neat because they're dumb. That's why they're that. Anyway, moving on. So NetherRealm Studios. This is exciting for me. I'm a huge fan of NetherRealm Studios because they, Mortal Kombat, the DC universe stuff, Injustice. Forgot its name. I'm such a fan. I forgot the name. Injustice. I love NetherRealm Studios fighting games. I just do. So they've announced now that they are officially done making Mortal Kombat 11 DLC. So there'll be no more characters, no more story campaigns, blah, blah, blah. They're moving on with their lives. It's not you, boo. It's me. It's been 2 years. MK11 came out April 23rd, 2019. So we've had 2 years and some months of them supporting this game, and that's fantastic. So now they're moving on. Whether that is to, of course, they're going to be working on other Mortal Kombat in some way, shape, or form. That's just how it goes. I will say, I do agree with the article here at Game Ranks that the biggest injustice about this is the fact that Sector and Cyrax are in this game, Mortal Kombat 11. They're in the story mode. You fight against them. They have their skill sets. They have their moves. They're in there. They never came out as DLC characters. Why? They are fan favorites. You would have made money. They ended with 37 playable characters, but when you literally already have them in the game, computer controlled, why would you not do that? I don't get it. It makes no sense at all to me. There also were rumors for a while that Ash from Evil Dead was supposed to be in it, which would have been awesome. I don't know. Maybe they were working on that stuff. It was like one more pack, and they just decided to pack it in. It's so puns. That's why you tune in. It's not. Nobody tunes in for puns. So anyway, the other thing is there's also rumor that they actually may be working, instead of on Injustice or the next Mortal Kombat, they're working on a Marvel game, a Marvel fighting game, which I am totally good with too. I love Marvel, I love Injustice, and I love Mortal Kombat. So to see Marvel coming through, done by NetherRealm, would be awesome. Capcom does Marvel versus Capcom stuff and has done a lot of Marvel titles, so I don't know, although the last one was garbage. So there is that. I don't know if there's a thing there, but that stuff's owned by Disney now. So they could just be like, yeah, we're going to branch out. Capcom, you could still do your thing, but after that last one was so bad, we're going to try to someone else and see if we can get a decent fighting game for a change. That'd be really cool. That's what I'm hoping for. Moving on to something that jumped to the top of my list of totally awesome shit I want, but I didn't know I needed in my life. Sorry, I'm choking on my water. That's what I get for drinking right in the middle of a sentence. Star Wars Visions, which we saw the title of when Disney announced all the future Star Wars things and stuff like that. I was way off. I thought this was going to be like maybe a story about the Jedi and the prophecies and stuff like that, and how they, the Chosen One and all that with Anakin and blah, blah, blah. Nope, totally wrong. It's an anthology. They went to a bunch of anime studios over in Japan, excuse me, and basically gave them leeway to create short stories. It's basically like the Animatrix or that Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix, but based in the Star Wars. They all have they showed a short. It's a 3-minute like teaser look that shows some of the animation and some of the stories that they're going to do, and they're all very widely different. One of them is very clearly based on the, two samurai meet in a grassy field and fight, but it's, Jedi and some old Sith-looking dude with two katana-looking lightsabers, which is badass. Then there's one there's a furry character one, which I know it fits for Star Wars. They have Bothans are furry. There's the cat people that they have in there, and there's all sorts of alien species. So yes, it was a cutesy one, but it looked good. Excuse me. Let's see here. But what they have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It looks like there's going to be 9 of these little shorts. There's going to be a studio called Kamikaze Duga is doing The Duel, which is the one I just talked about. Genji Studio is doing Lopa and Ojo, which I don't know what that's about. Studio Corilla, also Twin Engine, is Tatooine Rhapsody. Then there's Trigger Studios is doing The Twins and The Elder. Cinema Citrus is doing The Village Bride, which that one looked like it was based on a love story. They're all in wildly different animation styles. And then there's a Kikiri and TOB1, and then Production IG is doing the ninth Jedi. And if you haven't seen the trailer for this, it looks really cool. I can't wait to see something like this. You know, it actually jumped watching it. It gave me the goosebumps. It jumped above my want to see the next Mandalorian and Obi-Wan. In actuality, I just love it. The thing that really I love even more is, again, in the comment section of IGN, is how a lot of people instantly hated on it because it wasn't something they knew they want. They're just kind of, fine, that's yours, but they just instantly, the way people instantly trash on things without having any idea what it's actually going to look, well, they know what it's look like, but be like, and how great the stories might be, or how terrible. I seem to remember there was Mass Effect kind of anthology, and that one wasn't good. It's so good I don't even remember if it was an actual thing. And Lopo and Ochi, which stars a space bunny person, let's see, I'll just read what it says here. From the duel that features Samurai-esque Jedi to Sith, to Lopo and Ocho, which stars a space bunny person, to a new tale of the dark side twins and the story of a master and Padawan, and a twist of the on Hallmark Star Wars motifs. There's a ton of variety and uniqueness in each story. So yeah, I'm really digging on that. I can't wait to see what they do. It's just, I love stuff like that. I'm glad Star Wars is trying new things, and that they're letting Favreau and Feige do their own thing and go about things on their own way, and getting away from the Kathleen Kennedy, Ryan Johnson version of what we allowed Star Wars to turn into. Because as you may have heard on this show, it's bad. It's all bad. Very bad. Kind of randomly, Final Fantasy XIV broke its Steam player records without releasing anything new. Just being a better game than the others, I guess. Now, some of this is, I think, the article goes into, because what's that guy? He's a World of Warcraft. I know Asmongold. That's it. As you could tell, I'm big up on my World of Warcraft streamers. But he's got a huge following, and I've actually seen on my YouTube feed, like, just, like, you might like this. There, he was trying it and things like that. And then, of course, I saw Final Fantasy people's reactions to him reacting to playing it, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, guys. You gotta... I really need to do some... I pull off... See if I got the acting chops to pull off some of the ridiculous shit that streamers do. It's just dumb. So apparently this is crediting him with having tried it, which makes, and he's got, I think, 2 million followers, give or take. So they call them influencers for a reason. Now, some influencers don't actually influence anything. They're just dumbass mouthpieces that, say dumb shit that other people that like dumb shit follow. I don't know. I mean, it's a niche, and if you can get if it's a way to pay the bills, it's a way to pay the bills. But apparently they hit a peak of 47,542 players within 24 hours. And the previous record was 41,200, which was set back in June 2020. Now, they're giving credit to a lot of these WoW streamers, because I guess the WoW streamers or the WoW players are pissed that, Chains of Dominion took forever to come out, I guess. I don't know. I've always said World of Warcraft is a weak point for me. Yeah, wow, thanks. 45 minutes into the stream, and Twitch on my mobile phone is like, you can do this directly from your phone and keep track of the chats and things like that. Yeah, well, thanks. I kind of knew that. Dumbass. I don't know why you're telling me now. So, but I think the other thing is, aside from World of Warcraft people just being pissed at World of Warcraft and looking for the next best MMO out there, which I'm going to be honest, I'm a fan of 14. I played it for 2 or 3 hours last night, actually, going through I did all the Crystal Tower things because it was, one, it's required for the MSQ, and two, I was planning on doing it anyway, but yeah. So I think the other thing is that Endwalker is coming out the end of the year on November 23rd, and it's drawing. It looks good. Shadowbringers was like one of the best expansions I've ever played in MMOs ever. I really dug the story. I really dug what they did, just with the world and everything like that. It was just a very well done expansion, unlike ESO right now, which has some Oblivion thing going on that I've seen a few people I play with. They seem to like it and were excited for it, but I've seen just as many that are like me and haven't even bothered buying it. That's the first expansion I didn't buy day one, and honestly, I canceled my ESO subscription because I just don't feel like playing it anymore. It's just not fun for me at the moment. Maybe that will turn around, but I don't know. So yeah, way to go, Final Fantasy 14 for, breaking a record. I can't imagine it's going to go any worse for them. Itchy ear. Any worse for them in the future when the expansion actually does come out. It can only go up from there. In other news, Tomb Raider, she is finally able to get that discounted insurance and rent a car without her parents' permission. 25th anniversary celebration kicks off the trilogy collection and more. So, Tomb Raider's turning 25. 25 years ago, the first Tomb Raider came out. Triangle boobs and all. It was groundbreaking. I didn't play it. I tried, but for some reason, I just never got into the Lara Croft thing. I did play some of the more recent ones, and I didn't even finish those, the ones that Square Enix has been doing. Like Rise of the Tomb Raider, that new one, the one that the newest movie was based off of, which was only so-so. But no, that's cool, good. It's amazing to see something that came out like that so long ago. Let's see, the bundled trilogy, it will be available for purchase for $20 too, Microsoft and PlayStation stores. But the price is, limited. There's bugs in here for some reason, like a gnat. It's driving me crazy. So yeah, that's cool. Moving on. I don't really have a lot to say about it. It's a good, if you want to play the newer Tomb Raiders, $20 is a good damn price. Moving on to Destiny banning people, a streamer, for cheating, which he, of course, naturally denied. They make it, the article sounds like it gets ruined by Bungie. I wouldn't say it gets ruined, well, except for by one of them, but he's not a PR guy. So this guy was caught cheating. I love how they, let's see, how they show how this is done. Like there's a YouTuber named Atscross that put up a video that they have above, and he says, you would look at players and their record. They go from a 0.5 kill death ratio to a 2.5 or 3.5 or higher, and you're like, what the hell did they eat? Well, what they ate was, cheats. They got cheat bots and started doing that. So anyway, this streamer, Baken, I don't know, Baken, Bacon. I guess that's, Bacon Games, Bacon Gangsta. Yeah. If you put gangsta in your name, you are definitely a man of the streets. And I've seen a picture of this guy. He grew up on the mean streets of, Ontario, where they would have things like the polo shirt gang and the khaki gang and, let's see, the plaid shorts gang. That's, very, very violent individuals. They also, of course, had the flipped up collar gang. And they would fight it out on the streets, playing vicious fights of things like pinochle and foul language, such as "Your mother is so fat." How fat is she? Well, she is fat. Anyway, I don't know. That's not a Canadian accent, but it's basically those types of people. That's what he looked like. Not that you should judge people based on what they look like unless they're on the internet and stream, and then it's perfectly okay. Except for me, don't judge me based on what I look like. I am very sensitive. I am a delicate flower, you fucker. So anyway, he got caught, and he's like, he tried to deny it. Some people at let's see here, lost it. So the senior community manager, Dylan Gaffner, is like, bans are not issued without reason. Team has validated his action multiple times thanks to anti-cheat detection and investigation. He also linked to the thing, and Bacon, Gangsta Bacon, I'd like to see proof of what was going on that resulted in this ban, because as of right now, this is bullshit, man. I want to speak to your manager. I'm going to get my mom Karen over here, and she's going to totally chew you out. Mom! Where are the fruit roll-ups? The fruit roll-ups! Yeah, and I need you to talk to this guy at Bungie that banned me. Do something about it. God, so mean.
This can only end in tears.
And it did. So basically, they came back, and Gaffner said, following up, took some time to triple check this with the security team. We have detected 2 accounts under your ownership using cheat suites while playing Destiny 2 and have banned 4 accounts total, includes ban evasion. This is our final communication on the matter. And they just shut him down. Which, then there was another guy that says, good thing I'm not he works for Bungie. He's a UI, UX visual designer named Elliot Gray. And he's like, luckily, I'm not a community manager. And he made a little video roasting the guy, like, posted all of them, then did a whole bunch of, Doge and the little air horn siren thing, which was awesome. But I really wish more of these companies would just, when these people do this stuff, just blast them. Actually blast them. Just show exactly what it is and why it is they're getting banned. Don't leave anything. To have somebody that just spends a little bit of time and puts these videos together and just decimates these idiots, so that they know, that everybody knows that if you get caught cheating in any game, it doesn't need to be Destiny, just any game in general, that's going to be an issue because it gives you an advantage and you get banned. Just like the ban hall of shame. I don't know, something. They just need to do more to shame these assholes. And when they continue to do it and deny it, just shut them down. Just annihilate them. Yeah, right. Anyway, so moving on, speaking of things that suck. So Apex Legends was being hacked by hackers who were frustrated with Titanfall's hackers. So I've gone over this before. Titanfall, the original Titanfall, which is only online multiplayer, has been unplayable on PC because hackers are filling it with bots, and it times out. You cannot play Titanfall, apparently. And as far as I know, it's still a problem. So some hackers got together and actually hacked Apex Legends, which, I don't know if you know this, has a really large following. A lot of people like Apex Legends. I like it. It's a very good game. I just don't have time to play, a lot of multiplayer rounds of that kind of stuff. And I get very frustrated and bored very quickly on account of, I'm not good at them. I suck. Of course, I could get better if I played more often, but that would require me to be better, to get better, and I'm not better, so I'd get worse. I digress. But, so they hacked into Apex Legends, and they hacked into their, not everybody got it, saw it, but they put in a link to a place called SaveTitanfall.com, which is run by TF Remnant Fleet, and it's members from the No Skill Titanfall modding Discord. Now, SaveTitanfall.com is a great thing. It's doing its own thing, trying to get the Respawn to fix Titanfall and fix the issue so they can play a game they like, which they're not doing. They're just ignoring. So these hackers got in their mind, well, if we fuck with the other thing, that'll make them notice. It'll make everybody notice. But them linking to that led a lot of people to believe that they were behind it at TF Remnant Fleet, which apparently they were not. They actually said, "I would like the Apex Legends community, on behalf of TF Remnant Fleet and Titanfall community, that we stand with you." Red Shield said on a statement to IGN. "We are not behind the recent attacks and have no control over them, and that's something that we know the pain of very well. We empathize with you and hope that things can return to normalcy soon. At the very least, even if Titanfall doesn't get fixed, we hope Apex Legends can be, as I know that's a game that far more people cherish just as much as we cherish our game," which is cool. That is true. So apparently this is he believes that it wasn't necessarily someone malicious, but an actual fan of Titanfall that thought maybe they could get some publicity to highlight this problem. It's I understand the thing behind it. But you're ruining other people's experience for something that is because your experience is getting ruined. So you know how bad that is and how much that sucks. And yes, they did fix this. They got that taken care of. They fixed the hacks in Apex Legends. Titanfall still remains fucked up, though. So there's that. And it's probably not the best way to go about it, but at the same time, it kind of worked, too. Yeah, it's a raw deal, no matter how you slice it, especially for the Titanfall people, because they still can't play a game they want to play. So moving on to the screw-ups of Disney this week. We'll start with the big one. Actually, yeah, we'll go with the big one. So apparently, the new Slave-1 Lego ship is actually not called Slave-1. It's just simply named Boba Fett's Starship. Because, according to Fredernsky, everybody is. It's probably not something that has been announced publicly, but it is just something that Disney doesn't want to use anymore, being that Slave-1. Based on the comments, it would seem Disney is uncomfortable with the term slave being associated with its most popular Star Wars characters, though Boba Fett has traditionally been portrayed as a villain in the franchise. The more heroic turn in Mandalorian Season 2 may have had something to do with the change. Yes, he has always been, he's still a bounty hunter. He's not going to do good things. I don't know what they think he's, in the book of Boba Fett, that he's going to be like, yeah, I don't think he's going to come out as the hero on top of this one. He's going to come out probably like Boba Fett. But, yeah, nerds like myself everywhere just groaned inwardly and sighed. You can't just, yes, I get it. Slavery is bad. It has a bad connotation because, you're taking the free will of other people and making them do your bidding and not letting them be actual people. But calling it Slave-1 as a ship does not actually mean that. It doesn't mean anything. It's just the name of a ship. It just happens to use the word slave. They, in the Star Wars books, when they would slave, they would slave two computer systems together. So what one ship did, the other ship would mimic. They were slaved together. Are you going to have to take that? Would he just completely stop using a word that is in the English language and many, many other languages all over the world? Like all of them? It's just idiotic. It's a stupid thing, and it's a dumb kind of hill to die on. It's apparently kind of like, let's see. Yeah, and apparently I didn't even realize this one. I guess they have now that I've seen it. But they've been, in 2015, Disney decided to also start phasing out the use of the word Slave Leia costume, which is exactly what it was. She was a slave, and her name was Leia. And she was wearing that costume. You two knock it off. So I didn't even realize they were doing that, which is, I don't really keep up on the naming of every costume. Also, I don't have the figure for a Slave Leia. Believe it or not, I know. Surprisingly, I don't look as good as you would think I would. I just don't have the figure for it. Also, I'd have to shave my legs, and frankly, I'm just not willing to do that. But the thing is, this seems to come off of some misconception that people were asking for this. That the word slave somehow was triggering anybody, anywhere, in any community. And frankly, I never saw it. In fact, if you first wonder, if you go to the comment section on most of these articles, nobody really seems to be for it. For this, they're just like, what the hell? Everyone's upset that are people really that weak in their thought process that the word slave just instantly sets them off? Of course not. Nobody cares that, especially when it's Slave-1. It's just a stupid starship name. We don't go renaming, I don't know, the Enterprise because it's now connotated with Star Trek. We still have, the Enterprises out there. It's okay. It's fine. Given Enterprise. And Enterprise is supposed to be bad. Capitalism bad. You're not supposed to have an Enterprise. See, there. I made the same leap in logic as Slave-1. The other thing Disney got themselves in hot water with, and by the way, actually, this is kind of spoiler territory for the last episode of Loki. So if you haven't caught up, I think on episode 4 of Loki, you might want to tune out on this one because there's spoilers here. So just giving you a heads up, which is why I actually saved this one for the end. So in the 4th episode of Loki, we know that the variant, our Tom Hiddleston Loki, is going after the female variant Loki. And naturally, as is perfectly the way for Loki, is he kind of fell in love with himself, which is funny. Now, the problem with this is, as there really shouldn't be one, but I did see a lot of really angry LGBT people about this because, and I think this is not necessarily on them, but on Disney, because Disney there was article after article and press release after press release about how Loki is gender fluid and bisexual. And, the LGBT folks were like, yeah, what of us, kind of a thing. And it actually, for the mythology of Loki, is true. He actually did one time turn himself into a female horse and was rammed and then gave birth to Cephalier, he gave birth to an 8-legged horse. So I'm waiting for Disney to do that story, by the way. Yeah, let's see season 2 of Loki turn himself into a chick horse, get banged, and then give birth to a 8-legged horse. I'm sure that was coming from Marvel anytime now. So Loki being gender fluid and bisexual, he does whatever he has to do. He's a god of mischief. It doesn't matter. That part is fine. The problem came in with Disney trying to virtue signal how great it was and how open and wonderful they are. And then they just had him do like a typical relationship, given it was with an alternate version of himself, but he was with a chick version of himself. So they got mad. And now I understand bisexual does mean you like them both. So the fact that he ended up with a girl is completely in character with bisexual. But they clearly were doing this to point people in the direction of like, oh, well, he could be with a guy, but he's not going to be. So yeah, kind of understandably on the LGBT folks, I don't often side with some of the dumb things they get upset about, but I could kind of see this one because they were, like I said in my little thing at the beginning, they're just kind of led around by the nose. It wasn't, I don't even think it's that they want something like that. They want it to be good and done well. There's a relationship in Fear Street that is done like that, but it's a part of the plot. It's not put in. It doesn't feel like it's just put in there to do a checkbox, and it's actually done very well. I thought it was pretty cool. And then there's other times like this where it's just like, guys, if you're just tell the story. You don't need to signal how great you are for having a gender fluid bisexual demigod. That weighs 500, almost 600 pounds of pure muscle, and can take a beating from the Hulk. Just tell your stupid story and move on with your life. It's okay. You don't need to make sure everybody knows how great you are because
this can only end in tears.
Exactly. So, all right. Actually, I kind of got through all that pretty quickly. I thought I had a whole bunch, but I just blazed through that in a blaze of glory, glorified gloriness. So, Which makes me wonder what I'm already 2 days into this week. I did see what was it? There's been a few news items. Oh, the new Switch is dumb. OLED screen, but it's the same processor and RAM as the other one, which means stupid Nintendo. They just do an upgraded model already. But anyway, so I'll have other stuff for the next week, and hopefully I won't be doing it on a Tuesday at 4:30 in the afternoon. So with that, I think I'm just gonna cut it out there and quit rambling. I actually have the opportunity to be on Mondays in MMOs tonight with Renfail and Scribbles, which they've be the fourth time they've had me on there. I don't remember exactly what we'll talk about, or do I? And I'm just going to be cheeky and not tell you. But if you enjoy that, actually, I have a lot of fun being on their show. If you want more, I'm a little less jokey because theirs is a little bit more of a serious talk. But yeah, a little less. It's part of my personality. So. But if you want a good talk on MMOs, check out Renfail stuff. Just go to YouTube and look up Renfail or Mondays in MMOs. I thought it's Monday mornings in MMOs, I think it is. And find his stuff. And he has me on. It has several other people. They are programmers and developers across the spectrum. So if you want kind of an inside baseball look at stuff, I highly recommend it. When I'm doing stuff in Final Fantasy, I usually listen to them. So, that's fun. And twitch.tv/crashed while loading. Follow me there. If you want to subscribe, use your Prime subscription, like Scribbles did today, because he is amazing, good-looking, and probably extremely, extremely good with the lady. I think he's married, so it's got to be the lady. But yeah, all right. Well, I'm going to quit rambling. Remember, I'm Ashen Phoenix. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week. For some reason, my ears just started ringing really loudly. I don't know why. It's like this high-pitched hum. It's super weird, even with my headset on. Crazy. Music, as always, is provided by Husky by the Geek. Visit him at youtube.com/HuskyByTheGeek to hear the latest in video game rock covers and original music. He's got some awesome Final Fantasy XIV ones on there lately. Go check him out!